Hello, once again it's David from David Savery Electrical Services Limited, and I was asked last summer by YouTuber Stephen Power to talk more about my wagon shenanigans, which seems like a good a reason as any for a natter about all things vehicular. I did originally make this video back at that time, but it got bogged down with all sorts of asides which, while maybe relevant to those breaking into the industry, made for a rather wordy watch even if you were armed with a couple of bottles of hock and too much time on your hands. So I've now reshot it and will perhaps split it into two separate videos. Today's video therefore is just about the organisational aspects of the current van, which is probably the bit you really wanted to see anyway, if indeed seeing inside anybody's transit van is your particular cup of tea. If so, go grab one, sit back and we'll have a quick rifle around while it's in a semi-tidy state. You'll notice that this is a high-top Transit, and that's for two reasons. Firstly, I wanted to ensure there was enough room on the thing to accommodate up to 3 people and their associated tools, as there were 3 of us working for the business back in 2017 when I bought it. Besides me old mucker Nigel, we had young Dior on the books, who provided the team with some much-needed pep, vigour and good looks. But loading the old van, a Volkswagen Transporter, with the additional tool and test equipment had started to become like playing a game of Tetris in order to get everything fitted inside. And of course, once you'd loaded the thing, then you'd find you needed something at the bottom, so the whole bally lot would have to come back out again. Not long after I exchanged the Transporter for the bigger tranny, Dior decided to leave us anyway in order to pursue a professional sporting career, which continues to baffle Nigel and me to this day. Why would anybody want to get paid to kick a bloody football around when they could be working as an electrician, chasing walls, pulling in cables and smelling out old man farts? It's just bizarre. I can't see the attraction. Like I say, I can't see the attraction myself, but good luck to the lad. Anyway, the second reason for the van change was because I have a 5-metre aluminium platform, which I used to store and transport in a second van, a Suzuki Carry, which is effectively just a go-kart with a roof and a radio. My platform used to just about fit into this clockwork fart box, and while it would also fit into the Transporter, it generally did so at the expense of all the other toolboxes, meaning it was either the platform or the tools, but not both. This Transit allows me to take out the platform if needed and the tools, so I'm not stuck when it comes to having available shifting space. When I found this tranny for sale at Honest John's Motors, it seemed ideal. The right price, locally located and already mechanically racked out. I could literally buy the thing, move over my old van's contents during a weekend and be good to go again on Monday morning, which is exactly how it worked out. Now, I don't know who owned my Transit before I bought it, but I presume an outfit like Western Power, Openreach, Severn Trent or some such. There's no discoloration on the exterior paintwork to indicate any branding from the previous owner, and nothing in Honest John's paperwork about it. Compared to the Volkswagen, it's a more comfortable van to sit in, it's smoother to drive, it's more economical on the diesel, and most importantly, the cup holders are excellent. They were pants in the Transporter, I mean really pants. The spring-loaded grip used to eject your half-drained and wholly overpriced Starbucks into the passenger footwell whenever you went over a friggin' speed bump, and you don't fuck with a tradesman's chocolate-sprinkled vanilla latte any more than you'd mess with a man's pint down at the Jolly Joyrider or the Asbo Arms. I've mentioned my tranny came racked out, which is great, although let me tell you, it doesn't look as neat today as it did when these pictures were taken when I first loaded it. But its predecessor, the Volkswagen T30, came with just a big empty space. So for that I had to use my considerably poor GCSE wood and metalworking skills to put together some custom shelving to accommodate tools and materials. It was okay, it did the job. Sadly, this is the only picture I can find of what it looked like inside, despite my having had 4 years to take more. Anyway, I didn't carry anything on the roof of the Volkswagen, so for 3-metre conduit I cut out part of the bulkhead with a hole saw to allow such items to be stowed in the cargo area and through into the passenger space above the passenger's head. For ladders, I have my fiberglass steps, a sectional ladder and a folding ladder, all of which could be transported inside the van. The Transit came with a telescopic ladder rack already fitted, and I used that to carry Nigel's super high and awfully awkward long ladder. In fact, here is the old git sliding the rack back into place, having stowed and secured the ladder onto it following its use on a job. Access equipment such as ladders will be what takes up the most space in a van, as they are clumsy to transport. Sparkies with smaller vans may choose to only carry them when needed, although I prefer to always have such with me, as I don't like to get caught short. Let's have a quick look at that gear before we stick our heads inside the van itself. The sectional ladder clips together to form something sturdy that gets me most places I need to be. I have roof hooks fitted to the top of my sectional ladder, which allows me to set them off from the wall for better access when drilling or installing equipment at height. The folding ladder is similar but more versatile, as it can either be opened into stepladder form or into a platform with the addition of some footplates, or it can be unfolded as a full-length ladder for getting up to your average house roof. You can also buy telescopic ladders, of course, which, like all of these, also stow in a smaller space for easy transportation. But Nigel was once up a set of telescopics and they collapsed under him, which I didn't witness personally, but I'm sure was very entertaining. For additional external storage, what I do have on the tranny that I lacked on the VW are 3 pipe carriers mounted on the roof. The first one is a 3 metre plastic lined for carrying the conduit, plastic PVC conduit and trunking, and it's plastic lined because if you stick white conduit in a non-plastic lined one, it doesn't come out very white afterwards. Next to that is a 2 metre one. Let's just find the right key for that. And that contains our steel capping. And finally we have one other 2 metre one. If I can get my key into there, which contains fluorescent tubes to stop them from rattling around and getting smashed on the back of the van. They're surprisingly a bit soggy, so I don't know what's going on there. A quick word on cab essentials, and on the driver's side, a sat nav with traffic updates is a must. Personally, I rate the TomTom models, having previously had a useless Garmin thing. This one gets traffic updates via Bluetooth tethering on my mobile, but I'd wish I'd spent the extra on a model that has its own data connection, as Bluetooth can be a bit hit and miss. What that generally means is I have traffic updates when I'm working 2 streets away and don't need it, but whenever I've got to clock up the kilometres, you can bet the bugger has lost its connection and I have to faff about acting as a negotiator between this and my BlackBerry to get the 2 sides back on talking terms. Sadly, another cab essential for the times we live in is the dash cam, to protect oneself from the ignorant Audi drivers and scammy crash for cash scum. And next to that we have a reversing camera, which is jolly handy when manoeuvring a vehicle of this size. A quick peek at the passenger side, and I won't go into too much detail here as Nigel's housekeeping is frankly embarrassing. Just the end of another working week for him, of course, while I'm left to tidy up and sort out all his mess. But in terms of equipment, there's not a lot to speak of here. We have the ubiquitous USB charger and, of course, the Magic 8 Ball for those important decision-making processes, this one being of a High School Musical flavour. Magic 8 Ball, are we spending too much money at fast food outlets to the detriment of our health? All signs point to yes. You see, it's amazing. How does it know? But enough of all this, it's the gear in here I know you want me to make appear, so let's open it up and take a look inside. For the purposes of the van tour, I should be handing the camera over to my least favourite child. Is it recording now?
Yeah.
Don't cock it up. Right. Okay, where to begin? Well, may as well start with this. This is a one of those Stanley roller boxes that we looked at in Toolbox Tour 3. This one minus its wheels, which fell off on site, but it does make for it's fixed into place and makes for a rather handy cable store for storing all those little offcuts and things that you don't want to throw away and reuse somewhere. So that works out rather well there. You've got to have a bit of dumping ground on the van. We've got a couple of hop-ups on the van because with both Nigel and I on site, we sometimes both need to get up together in different places to work on lighting or whatever. I have absolutely no idea what that is or why it's there, but never mind. If we come up here, we have the loo roll for cleaning up one's mess. And we looked at the ladder equipment before. The sectional ladder gets stowed up here in 3 sectional pieces, and we have the folding ladder with its platform there that sort of sits there tied to the racking out of the way. And this back side of the van, this is very much the stock side, so we've got all the little bits and bobs here, sockets and switches, Patrices, Wagos and Wago connectors, or Vargos as I should say really, because they are German, glands, cable ties, pendants, fixings, grommets, cleats, isolators, junction boxes, click connectors and plugs, etc. Moving on to that sort of side, we have comms gear, various bins for things like conduit parts, so the component parts for galvo or plastic conduit, the saddles, the connector pieces, the various bits and bobs. There's some breakers there, some GX53 and GU10 connectors there. So this is all very much sort of stock on this side, apart from the ladder equipment. We do have a site radio, very important to have one of those now, where Nigel and I unfortunately can't agree on what kind of music to listen to. He likes Bon Jovi and Whitesnake and that sort of thing. I prefer some good electronic music, so we both tend to listen to Radio 6, and neither of us is pleased, but never mind. In the back here we've got various cable reels in states of use. Some are full, some have had some of their cable dispensed already. There's a reel saver on that one, which is jolly handy for when one of your cardboard size tends to fall off. Excuse me. Got a very good vacuum. That's a Wix vacuum cleaner, very powerful. We did start off with a Hetty Hoover who couldn't quite cut the mustard, but that thing there does a very good job. We also have a dolly here that I can place my toolbox onto to wheel around site if I'm feeling a little bit old and past carrying it around. On this side of the van, I'll swap places with you. Oh, hello. On this side of the van, this is less of a stock side, more of a equipment side. So we've got, for example, a fairly robust site heater there for when we're working out and about on a cold first fix site. There's also a work light next to it. There normally are more work lights on the van, but some of them are actually out in use at present because we've got a couple of first fix sites on the go. Also around here we've got things like the Dade, the box sinker and chisels, SDS chisels. This is a Wander lead here that I made myself out of an old extension lead case. No, I don't know why they cost so expensive to buy when you can make one for next to nothing. We've got heat shrink, conduit draw wire, some various bits of stock, some floodlights to go in there. There's a torpedo there for when we're splicing armoured cable. Various of the bits and bobs. PPE over here. These masks are about 100 quid from Screwfix, but they're pretty good. And obviously, you know, you need a decent mask. Those little paper ones don't slice the shite. Over on the front side of the van here, on the bulkhead side, we've got this bit of plastic conduit which allows us to stow our two fluke boxes, and not that there's a fluke in either of them, but that works rather well. And behind them is another compartment where we tend to keep things like dust sheets and that sort of stuff. That's above the cab there, so you get plenty of space in a van of this sort of size. Not quite enough room to stand up in, but otherwise there's plenty of space to work with in here. Down in the bottom here we've got a flappy compartment that contains sealants, solvents, adhesives, and then we've got things like the heat gun, socket set, soldering iron, that sort of stuff. Now you notice there's no van vault or anything like that, and that's more because we're not really storing anything terribly expensive on here. It's all sort of bitty stock items. The main tools, as we saw in the previous videos, are in transportable boxes and they get unloaded at night and taken off. So these things wouldn't normally be on here. We've just put them on here for the sake of this video today. First aid kit, of course, because we're always getting scrapes and bashes. There's a couple of work lights. We've got a night searcher here and here. I reviewed them, I believe, in Electrical Times magazine 2 or 3 years ago. Very good work lights. And down here we've got cleaning wipes and line marker for marking walls. And this thing came with a van. It's got various sanitizers and hand creams in there, but can't say we ever use it, to be honest.
What do you mean no roof? I can stand up just fine.
That's smart ass. Looking at it from the rear, there's that shovel I mentioned. Also keep various parts there, like plumbing bits or TV satellite connectors, or when I'm working on showers or TV services. There's the hop up there, and we also have 2 cable spoolers, the trolley, vacuum cleaner, broom, various tails and trunking and conduit and all that sort of stuff, all hiding back here. So that's it for this brief tour, but there is more to say about commercial vehicle ownership that I haven't touched upon here, like security, livery, leasing, waste carrying, and some of the aftermarket whistles and bells that I've just not spoken of today. But I may roll all of that into a future video. For now though, thanks for watching.